Guys, what is happening? Happy Monday. It's literally the last Monday in May. Can you guys believe this? Like, May is done. May is finished. Like, done. Where did the month go? Where is the time going? Honestly, where is the time going, guys? But welcome to What's the 411. I just came up with a new slogan for, or slogo, whatever you want to call it, for What's the 411, guys. So what it is What's the 411? Where everybody's story matters. Because you know what? I feel like everybody comes on here, they're telling their story, and if you've checked my YouTube page, you check my IGTV, you'll see how many different perspectives, different stories we're hearing, and they all matter. They're all definitely something that we can take from. If you don't know somebody that's going through the certain situation, there's definitely something you could learn from them or somebody else that you've somebody, what's up, Metro Mix? Somebody else who has, hey, how's it going? Tawana, I just sent your stuff in the mail. So it says it's going to take a while, but it's in the mail. It's coming, girl. It's coming. So yeah, I was just saying, this is definitely, we're excited about, the summit coming up, guys. We have the summer edition coming. I know we literally just finished the spring edition, but this summer edition is going to be the 1 year anniversary of the summit. So I'm extra excited about it. I have so many different things planned. Just to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek into what's going on. The summer edition is going to be on August 21st, Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. And basically for the summer edition, we are having a kids segment. We are going to have our regular segments with different individuals. We're going to have performances, and we are debuting a marketplace. Okay, so from the 18th to the 20th, we're going to have a live marketplace, and it's just going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm excited to be posting some stuff about it just shortly, so you guys can definitely check it out and share it with your communities if you know anybody interested. But we are excited to have, I'm so excited and honored for this opportunity to speak to Nikki Clarke. Okay, I'm really excited about this. So, yes, how's it
Hey, how are you
going? How are you?
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's an honor. Can you
This
see
is an
me and
honor.
hear me okay?
I can see you. I can hear you. It's an
Okay,
honor to have you on the show with us.
so thank
Thank you for
you.
joining.
Yes,
Um,
anytime.
so introduce yourself, tell people who you are, even though, everybody in Canada knows who you are, but,
Uh,
introduce yourself.
that's really kind. I'm Nikki Clarke, and again, really blessed to be on the show with you. Thank you so much for the invitation. I guess I wear many hats. I have a talk show, The Nikki Clarke Show. I am a lay pastor, ordained lay pastor. I'm an entrepreneur, an author, educator, and above all, I'm a mom of 3 adult kids.
Ah,
Yes.
beautiful. Wow.
Thanks.
Geez, you definitely wear many hats. Talk to us about how you got started.
Um, with the talk show,
Well, what kind of brought you into all of these different avenues? Where did it all begin?
um, I think I would have to attribute my drive to my parents. I am Jamaican born, and my parents, came to Canada in the early 70s, with the promise of coming to Canada, the land of milk and honey. And my parents are both very hardworking, academically driven, disciplined Jamaican parents. So as I came here at a very young age, 3 years old, growing up in Montreal, Quebec, I had that kind of role models from my parents, role modeling the need to go out and help others. So I learned very early kind of service before self. And I can remember at the early age of 5 being voluntold into activities to help, people, Christmas time to help serve people at the church or whatever it is, or my mom would put me in plays because she saw that I liked to kind of be in front of the camera, or do things that were kind of outgoing for a young child. So that kind of got my mojo going in terms of just being in front of others, not being shy, and kind of lending a helping hand from a very early age. So by the time I got through college and university, I had it in my mind that I was going to do something with my interest in public speaking, my interest in drama, and also had a really kind of passion for writing. I was doing a lot of short story writing, as well as writing songs and writing poetry. And yeah, I said, Mom, Dad, I think I want to be a reporter. I want to go out there and meet people. I want to help. I want to uncover stories and just, make a positive impact. And, my hardworking, disciplinarian, academically driven Jamaican parents said, yeah, I don't think so. There's no money in that. You better do something safe and secure and nabarawidi, you know what I mean? So I decided then to go into the area of teaching, which I did for many years, for about 10, 12 years, at the college level as well as high school. And Jamaica, I taught there. I taught in Brampton and Oakville in the Faculty of Early Child Education at Sheridan College. I really loved it. But there got to a point where in the 10 years of my teaching college at Sheridan, towards the end of the 10 years, I got this whisper, what I call a divine whisper. And it was reminding me that that wasn't the plan. It was like, remember, that's not what you really wanted to do. It's good, but that's not the plan. And the more I ignored it, the louder it became. So at towards the end of the 10 years, I resigned from teaching, and it was a very painful decision to make because I really loved the students. I really loved the subject matter, which was early childhood education as well as community development. But I knew that there was something else out there, and that I could still teach, but in a different capacity, and that maybe the classroom was just going to be a different format. And that's when I made the decision to take a leap of faith and to start this talk show. At the time when the show was developing, it was called And the Beat Goes On. And I left a safe, secure, well-paid position to start something that I really was passionate about, but I had no idea what I was doing. So that was really, it was a real test of faith. And I'm sure my parents didn't say it to me, but I'm sure they must have been thinking, and they probably had the conversation with themselves that I was making a big mistake, as well as some friends and maybe other family members. But I just, you just had this, I don't know if you ever had that kind of like strong feeling that you need to do this. And sometimes when you have this strong vision or the strong sense or that divine whisper or discernment or intuition, whatever you want to call it, some people won't hear it and they won't see it, but it's your vision, right? And it's your journey that you need to traverse upon, and no one's going to understand it until you get there, and then they'll probably go, oh yeah, now I see what you mean, and oh, good for you, I'm right behind you now. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, you had to do all the kind of blood, sweat, and tears journey by yourself, so that's what I did. And I started the show. It was called And the Beat Goes On, and I pitched it to an online TV carrier, and I said, listen, I have this idea to, invite people from all walks of life to come share their heart stories, and what do you think? And the TV station owner said, well, if you've got the dime, I got the time, basically. So he said, okay, it's up to you. So I said, all right, I'm going to produce the show. I'm going to finance the show and see what happens. So this divine whisper turned into a whim, a hobby, and then it kind of transformed into a business, because after 3 years, I was having people from like United States. I had Tupac's former record company contact me. They wanted to put their artists on. I had he's gone global now, but back then when he was on the show, he was able. And now he's the internationally known Weekend. He came on the show, 19, almost 20 years old, and he sat down with me and he talked about his vision of becoming an artist. So I had a lot of these incredible, spirited people come on the show and reveal themselves, and if they were musically inclined, I tested them. I said, no, you have to perform, no auto tune, none of that canned stuff. Like, you got to do it live, you got to do it well, because I've got a really good ear. And they came on and they did their stuff, and the show just had its own legs. It just started its own movement. And I'm just so glad that I listened to the voice, and I'm so glad that I wasn't deterred by all the distractions and the negativity that was happening at the time, because they didn't understand what the whole idea was going to be, what this journey was going to not only take for myself, but I was carrying destinies with me, because people came on the show and then they started their own shows, from the encouragement that I gave them, the coaching that I gave them, or people came on the show and then all of a sudden they got picked up by somebody else, and then their records or their songs or their fashion label or whatever it was just got picked up, and they moved really quickly. So I knew that this was bigger than me. It was something that had a lot of purpose behind it, and I just kept doing it. It gave me the passion through the valleys, moments in the valley where it was really difficult, and I didn't know if I wanted to continue. There were these days where I was like, what did I sign up for? This is really challenging. And then the financial aspect, or the aspect of just kind of being a little naive and just kind of expecting people to kind of move in the same kind of integrity that you have, and they have their own agenda. So I had to learn all those harsh lessons, but it gave me a thicker skin, and a greater resolve to do even better and to do more of what I'm doing, because I was really resolved in the idea that this is a really good thing. So the leap of faith turned into And the Beat Goes On, and the Beat Goes On morphed into the Nikki Clarke Show, because people were saying, stop hiding behind a title, and you need to put your name out there. And I kind of reluctantly did it, but I did it. And 12 years later, October will be its 13th year. It went from that to Afro Global Television, picking it up. It's now on 4 channels. It also has an outlet on radio out of New York City, and online through my Nikki Clarke network, as well as other kind of YouTube mini channels. So I'm grateful for, like I said, just taking that chance and helping a lot of people who may not have had the opportunity, but it gave them a platform to release their cathartic stories. And in doing that, they healed themselves and people who felt that they were isolated and kind of alone in whatever they were going through. And I've had some really hard stories, Miss L, like, from domestic abuse to homelessness to cancer survival to rape. Like, you got it. As long as they had the courage to share those stories, I was willing to coach them through it, and it's a beautiful experience.
Wow. Well, big up yourself, Nikki, because that is phenomenal. I mean, like, definitely, I know why they call you the Canadian Oprah Winfrey, because, you definitely, you set that standard for talk shows out here, so that's phenomenal. But talk to us about how important these stories are, people sharing their story.
It's important, as I was alluding to earlier, in that it really, the tagline of the show is transforming lives one story at a time, and that's really what the purpose of the show is to help those come on in an invitation of safety and non-judgment, come and share their stories. And I dare them to take their mask off. And, we wear these masks at times to protect our integrity and to protect ourselves from being further hurt if we're in a place of, healing, or still the wounds are just gaping open because we haven't been able to deal with past hurt. So if they're coming on the show, they're in the right place, in the right direction where they can release these stories and heal themselves. And then those who are listening can say, oh my gosh, this person went through it and they made it. Okay, I think I can do the same. So they get that encouragement, they get that empowerment, and they also get the resources, which is provided in the storytelling. So, we've had people, like I said, from all gamut of experiences, but the thing that is my responsibility is to make the connection where they can get further help. You know what I mean? So it's important to provide those resources, and it's just been really a phenomenal, eye-opening experience, and it's been an honor for me to have people trust me in taking, I call it their life, in my hands, and shaping and molding how they present themselves, how the delivery of their story online, or in front of the camera, on the radio, and then sharing it with others. It's a real, it means a lot to me that people have that faith. And I take the responsibility very seriously, in that I really want them to shine, and for their story to be well received, and to encourage them. Like, I'm not a one-off person. When anyone that comes into the network, so to speak, they become part of my family for however long they want to be in that relationship. I'm like a lifer. So if you want to stay connected, I'm going to continue to grow with you. And if you want to, tap into my resources, or if you have questions, if you need further coaching, or if you have ideas about starting your own show, I never turn anybody away, and it's a good and a bad thing, because sometimes I have to kind of, I realize in my self-awareness that I have to kind of create some boundaries, in that I need to kind of preserve some of that energy for myself, that good stuff, so that I can keep giving it away. But I think that's just who I am. That's in my DNA. And like I said, something that's been passed down from my parents, and I see my grandparents are of the same kind of ilk, where they're always out helping people. But it's good to understand the relationship you're in, how much you can give in terms of what you're putting out, and also to take moments of self-care, and to kind of take stock of what you need to do for yourself. I think those are the lessons I've learned a lot through COVID, through these moments of being still, and not being distracted by the busyness of life. I've been able to grow a lot in terms of understanding what I need to fill my own cup. As much as I've been giving it away to a lot of people, I need to kind of, take care of myself, and it's without feeling guilty. Which is a very important thing, especially for women. We're socialized to nurture and to put ourselves last, and make sure everybody looking good, everybody all right, everybody fine, and then you're the one, you're like, your back is all bent up and you're exhausted and you haven't eaten anything, but everybody's well fed. So that narrative changed for me, where I was okay with taking care of myself, as well as giving some of that good stuff away.
Yeah, that's important to remember, especially, you're a mom, you're wearing all of these different hats, you're doing a whole bunch of different things. You got to remember to pour into yourself,
Yes.
the importance
Yes,
of it,
important.
for sure,
So
for sure. I think Metro Mix had a question. He was asking what part of Jamaica you're from.
Great question. I was born in Kingston. My mom is from Carisbrook, St. Elizabeth. I'm the original Browning. And my father is from Barton, St. Catharines, so we're country people. And my parents live in St. Elizabeth now with my grandmother.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, beautiful. So my goodness, besides your parents inspiring you, did anybody outside of the family inspire you to just push you in this direction?
Good question. Um, I my parents are very motivated by faith. I'll give you a little background. My father is a retired minister, and I already mentioned my mom is. I think I mentioned my mom is a teacher. So with that, I grew up in a real Christian home. So lots of opportunities to go to church and also discuss what faith means in the home. But I think I developed a relationship really young. Like you can have all these, tools to be connected to God, but the connection to God really is up to you. It's your individual choice, and I think that started for me at a very young age, and it was to the point where I'd be really upset if I was the first one ready for church and nobody else was. And I'd be like, "Come on, get in the car already." So I was just so, adamant about being connected in church, and I especially loved the choir singing. That was something was like, oh, it was heavenly, to be among, singers and hearing them and the delivery of the singing. That was something that kind of started me in my interest in music. So to answer that question, my faith developed very early, and that drives me now in terms of keeping my cup full, spending a lot of moments in silence and talking to God about what the next steps are. I used to think that I could do things with my own strength, and I was making a lot of boo-boos, just making a lot of mistakes and letting the flesh lead me, and dealing with blunders after that. So I've decided now to just allow, God to lead me, and I have a lot of yes, Lord moments, because I have realized in the 53 years of my life that as much as people want to pour into you and they have good intentions, they'll fail you. They will disappoint you. Nobody's perfect, and myself included. But what I do realize is that the ongoing relationship that will never change, the love that will never change, the acceptance, the warmth, the kindness, is something that I only get from God. So that's why um, I have to say that that's been my driving force in doing what I do.
Wow. That's important to remember. I was just about to ask you about becoming a lay minister and, how you kind of decided that that was where you wanted to go.
Mhm. Uh, how did that happen? uh, I went to Bible college. I had a discussion with my pastor at the time. I was going to a particular church in Toronto, and he said, "I'm not a prophet, but I can see that you're going to be a great preacher one day." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Me, I have trouble memorizing the Bible verses. Like, I don't, how is that possible? He says, "No, just wait and see. But what I can do is I can encourage you to maybe attend this Bible college and get some of the foundations of what you need to build upon that." And I said, "Okay, let me think about it." And then after about a year, I decided to take that plunge, so to speak, and go back to school after so many years. And I went back to school, and I attended a Bible college in Oshawa. And I was like, yeah, I think I like this. I think this is something that I want to do. And I think this is the call that I've had on my life for many years. but I let the call go to voicemail, so to speak, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough. I was distracted by life, and but I think I was at the right moment to really fully kind of put myself and my faith to the test. So one night I was in class, and the professor came in, and he says he had like a stack of pamphlets in his hand, and he put them down on the podium, and he said, okay. He held one up and he said, okay, this is an invitation for everyone in this class to change their lives. And he says, in a few months, we're going to be having an ordination ceremony, and we're looking for the chosen to stand up and to answer the call. And he says, okay, how many people are interested? So most of the class, they were like, yeah, like put up their hand, they're ready, they want to receive the pamphlet. Everybody was like, doe-eyed and all enthusiastic. And he says, okay, hold on, before you take the flyer, I want to tell you something. So everybody's like, okay. He says, when I became a pastor, I went through the good, the bad, and the ungodly. He says, I've been a pastor now for 60 years, and I've experienced betrayal. I've had people persecute me. I've been lied on. I've had people leave my life once I became a Christian. So who wants the pamphlet now? And I think like all these hands went down, but mine was still kind of, you know. So conquering the fear of what could happen, I decided, yeah, I'm going to do this. And within a few months of interviews and teaching and practice, I became ordained in December 2017. And everything that professor kind of prophesied to us, it actually happened. The betrayal, the lies, the persecution. But the one thing that he said before dismissing the class is that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So that is the promise we have, that to stand on God's word, that everything's going to be all right despite everything. And no matter what I do in the community, and if the intention is good, but if it meets some other kind of reaction, it's okay, because God's got me, kind of thing. So that's really how I started, and how I'm continuing to move in the development of my ministry. And I've kind of branched out from kind of online preaching to doing gospel. Like I said, music is something that I've loved since I was a little girl. I am vocally trained, and just started to write music. And I released a gospel dance track on Mother's Day called For Your Love. And it's kind of a testament of the love I have for God, and also his amazing unconditional love for his children. And in celebration of that, the love doesn't change, especially during these times of, so much uncertainty and challenge. So yeah, so I'm going to I have some more songs coming out. The intention is to finish a gospel album. And I have a video that's coming out for Your Love. That should be coming out before Canada Day, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, see what else is going to happen. I'll let you know.
That's good. That's good. That's amazing. So what actually pushed you to go into the studio and actually record the song and put it out there?
I think the song was burning in me for a number of years. But to be honest with you, I've had to conquer stage fright. I can perform, I can interview, but when it comes to music, I forget lyrics.
Mm.
I have to kind of cheat when I'm singing, and have like my camera somewhere in my eye line where I could read the lyrics, or it has to be a song where there's a lot of repetition of the same words so I don't forget. And I was like, that's just foolishness, Nikki. That's just all in your head. You need to conquer this fear, and you also need to, kind of jumpstart your creativity. You can write your own stuff. So I really fortunate to be connected with an amazing producer. His name is Pac, the producer. Shout out Pac. He sent me a couple of music kind of samples, and there's one that stood out, and I'm like, yeah, this is a great beat. People can dance to it, and I think I've got a song. I hear a song to this track, and then it didn't really take that long. Um, and then I came up with the vocal arrangements. I worked out the melody, and within, I would say, a couple of months,
Wow.
I said, "Okay, Pac, I'm ready to go to the studio. Are you coming?" And he's like, "Okay." So he set me up with the studio and NV Productions. Shout out to NV. We went and we made history. It took about 90 minutes to put everything together. Really happy with what the outcome was, and I'm blessed to be around very talented people, and I love working with. I mean, I have to say, the younger generation of musicians. I mean, they're in their 30s, and I'm like 53, but I still, I'm pretty young at heart, and they're like. No, you need to cut down the song to this because nobody listens to 5-minute songs anymore. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. Because I was gonna put like three more verses on there. Like, no, like 2.5 minutes. Like nobody has time to listen to like 4 or 5 minute songs anymore. I'm like, okay. So they were kind of teaching me along. It was really fun. I remember I made them laugh a few times at the end of the session. I was like, okay, it's bedtime, kids. They're looking at me like, yeah, yeah, because my kids are like their age. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to going back in and banging out some more hits.
That's good. That's awesome. So where can we hear the tracks? Where can we find it?
um, you can hear it on all kind of musical platforms, but the ones I think, at the forefront of people's memories would be iTunes. So you can go on iTunes, you can go to Spotify, Tidal, Napster. They're all over. The song is everywhere, and so you can just give a little help out an artist. Put your little payment down. It's not a lot, but it helps to help kind of put more music out there, more good stuff, more inspirational music to soothe the soul and to help people get to the next level and to know that there is a creator who absolutely adores them and wants the very best for them. So that's the kind of music that I'm focusing on. And yeah, I just feel very blessed to be in that position to do it and with good people around me.
It's a great tune, so make sure that you guys check it out. I listened to it. It's nice. It's got a great beat. I love the beat, it has you bopping. It's a nice one. Yeah, it's great.
Good, good. That's the
So you are
intention.
do yeah,
Want the heads to be bopping, the
yeah,
shoulders to kind of get
you
into
know?
it, and yeah, definitely get people dancing. As
Yes.
I love to praise, I love to worship, but yeah, I love to dance. And yeah, hopefully that song will um, inspire people to do that.
For sure. Definitely a catchy tune. Um, but you're doing so much. You are doing all of this. You're out here inspiring all of us. What drives you to keep going? Like, how do you stay motivated?
How do I stay motivated? I have I have a handful of very good people who pour into me, who listen, who give me really good advice. Um, I pray a lot. I stay connected with the source, and I'm a combination of kind of introverted, extroverted person. So the off camera me is someone who is sitting in solitude and reading, or I'm listening to scholars or to voices that I respect that can help me, that I can learn from them. Like I'm an active learner. So as much as I pour into, I look for those mentors um, who can give me great advice. And so that goes from the Bible, or that goes to online sources, workshops, seminars, and I fill myself up. So that keeps me motivated to be able to motivate others.
Wow. And then, of course, right now we are dealing with this COVID-19 situation, like how has it, I guess, affected your business and then yourself as well?
Yeah, it was kind of a drag in the beginning, where I was setting up studio, you know, setting up the studio for the interviews, and then um, lockdown came, and we had to slow down for a bit, and then there was no activity for months, and then there was rumor of things opening up, and then I would invite and set up the studio, and then yeah, you just joking. Yeah, we're not actually going to open. And then thank God my guests were like so understanding. They're like, yeah, well, we can't leave the house anyway, so we'll make it
Yeah.
work. But I've had to be creative, and I think I've learned from other entrepreneurs too that the magic word now is pivot. Everyone's had to make a pivot through this pandemic, and with the pivot, it puts your back up against the wall to force you to think creatively on how you're going to make it through. And I thank God that we've been able to find other ways of getting the stories out through the online, like, similar to what you're doing with the IG Live. We do it through Zoom or through other kind of online platforms to get their faces out and to move these stories. So I'm grateful for that. I feel very sad for some businesses that didn't make it, some staples that have been around for like 50, 60 years that I grew up with, or they had to close their doors because they couldn't make it. So I'm very grateful that, I've been able to hang in there and to still keep the show going. It's funny. uh, my dad is like my biggest fan. He's like, he watches all the shows, and he's on Facebook. Yeah, my dad's my Facebook friend. My mom's my Facebook friend too. And anything that I put out there, like, yes, this is my daughter, um, Nikki. She's brilliant, and watch the show. But I remember back, when I started, they're like, I don't know, no, there's no money in TV kind of thing. So, for him to kind of go 360 and go, yes, I'm his big, the biggest fan. And my father said to me, you're going to keep the show going. It's a great show, eh? So I thought, wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that kind of motivated me to keep going. When you're hearing the voice of someone who just, you know, switched from that kind of, they were not that supportive to I'm your biggest fan, is a real kind of motivation for me, and I take that with a lot of seriousness and responsibility to make sure it keeps going, and to motivate men and women to create these amazing platforms like you're doing, and I congratulate you in what you're doing to create a safe and fun and engaging platform for others to get their stories out. So kudos to you, and kudos to others who want to go ahead and do the same thing. Go right ahead. The sky's the limit. Now, I don't have that scarcity mindset where it's like, oh, I need to hoard everything to myself because that person might get bigger than me. I don't think like that. I'm like everybody's big cheerleader, and I believe that there are enough pieces in the pie for everyone to enjoy, you know, and however you want to do it, everyone has a different gift. So I applaud everybody's gift. And the great thing is that if you put your gifts together, what you can do as a team. But
Hmm.
it's about mindset. So you have to get to that place where you understand that, this whole thing of self-employed, there's no such thing. Self-employed means you need at least 5 to 50 to 500 people to help you, and I'm grateful I have a team behind me that believes in me and believes in the show, and we just keep it going. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yes, thank you. I mean, you have a phenomenal show. I've watched several episodes
thanks.
and they're very engaging, you know. You get, as you said, we mentioned people to come on and talk about their stories and how important it is in sharing their story and how it reaches people and it touches people. And a lot of them are very emotional as well. So very,
Well,
very,
thank you.
very awesome. Yeah. But talk to us as well, because you were mentioning earlier that you like started off, did the show, you know, when it first started and you were producing. So you also are a producer. Talk to us about
Yes.
those, that
Yeah.
skill.
I mean, what a producer does is they're the visionary, right? So they come up with the ideas, and then they kind of they create the machinery to move the machine. And so that means money. That means knowing how to go out and get, sponsorship. Money drives a lot of what you need for your business. And then putting a team together. So you have to be a good manager. And then you have to go and find those voices that, deserve to be heard. There's so many. I mean, for me, it wasn't about finding the famous. It was about finding someone who deserved to have that accolade. And there's so many unsung heroes and sheroes in Toronto and beyond, that I just felt, let's give you your 15 minutes and see what happens from there, and see where the world is going to take you. So that's what part of production is. And then writing involves kind of putting the scripts together, helping the camera people, the video and audio people understand how everything weaves in terms of the delivery, what I'm going to say, how the guest is going to project, their delivery. So it's a bit of work, but it's a labor of love. And like I said, I took a lot of time to research on my own, to teach myself production, teach myself how to direct, how to teach myself how to do these things. And now I'm at a position, because I've had, all this experience. I've had people from, different colleges in journalism and video production come and, to see what it's like. So I'm happy to be in a position where I can mentor others. And yeah, so that's how it happened for me. It was just a determination I had. If I couldn't hire all those hands to help me, I taught myself, and then I taught others who came under my wing.
Mm. So phenomenal, Nikki. Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
So what else do you have coming up? You're doing the show. What else can we expect? The music.
Yeah, there's some music. I have a project that's coming up. I can't give too many details, but what I can say, it's it's about healing, and
Okay.
especially what we've experienced, a lot of loss, a lot of tragedy. Healing is really important. So it's a big deal to help people heal. And I'll be able to share more. So hopefully you can invite me back on, and I
Of
can tell you more.
course.
Maybe in a couple of months it'll be ready to. It's a shareable information.
All right. All
But
right.
healing is good.
Healing. Yeah. Well, like, what are, I mean, just because you brought up the topic of healing, it is important when people share their stories. A part of sharing the story is healing in itself, but then there's that work that needs to be done afterwards when it
Hmm.
comes to healing as well. So, like, how important is healing on one's journey in life?
Well, it's very important, and that's a good point that you brought up. I mean, um, there's the work that has to be done. Otherwise, it's kind of, you're walking around with an open wound, and the healing may take longer than it needs to take. you know. So it means taking stock of yourself. And sometimes it's very painful to look at yourself, like truly examine yourself internally about where you are. And that means you have to really heighten your self awareness. You know, what makes me tick? How do I show up in conversations with others? How does my behavior affect others? It's not about you in this dynamic, it's about you and other people, right? So you may think that you're okay, but I may have a conversation that would indicate otherwise, right? If you're self aware, you'll say, you know what, I think I'm going to have to maybe decline this invitation to go out or to do this because I need a little bit of time to myself, because you're still working on whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
So develop your self-awareness and then do the work. If you can't do this on your own, and it's not always possible for you to take the time and have all this kind of wisdom and knowledge and understanding to heal yourself, ask for help. There's no shame in asking for help. You know, some of the best of us have asked for help, including myself. You know, whether it means you go to a trusted friend, or you seek a pastor or someone that you, whatever, you know, faith affiliation you have, someone who is trustworthy, who can help you that way. There are counselors out there, there are, you know, therapists who will help you navigate through what you need to, from, say, trauma, from a negative experience, or even it doesn't, may not always be trauma. It could just be the way that um, you have trained yourself to deal with certain things. Some of your coping mechanisms you think maybe are okay, but they're not that positive. You know what I mean? Like some people, you know, may lean on certain substances to cope, and they're harming themselves in the long run. You know, I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying that, you know, as an individual, if you truly want to heal and if you truly want to be in a place of health and be in a place of love, of self-love, so that you can give love away, then you're going to have to make those changes. You know, I look at myself, and I've had to make a lot of changes in terms of my environment, like who I decide to let in were affecting me. You know what I mean? Like certain relationships I had to trim away because I'm like, yeah, I'm really trying here. I'm really being loving. I'm really being loyal. I'm really being kind, but they keep taking advantage, or they just keep doing this that harms me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to protect yourself that way. And I say that, you know, you can forgive what they've done, and then you can love them from a distance. I don't wish anybody any ill, but I think at this point in my life, and I think as, you know, people who are woke, I think you know what's good for you, right? And who you need around you, and who you don't particularly need, because your environment is very important too. You have to protect your energy, and you have to
Yeah.
protect your space in order to fulfill your destiny. Because I have also learned that there are destiny helpers. They're people that you're going to connect with like this, and then you go, woof, you're just going to propel into your destiny. And then there are people who maybe not even maliciously, they just don't maybe have the tools, or maybe they just don't know how. They're going to slow down your destiny or derail you.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, your destiny will happen one way or the other if you're determined. But why don't you make the choice to do the one that's going to take you there faster, right? So these are all the things that you learn through the healing process. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot has happened to kind of shake up our lives through the pandemic, but I think I've taken it as a blessing to take stock of myself and to take stock of my relationships, to see, you know, who I can count in and who I can count out after this pandemic is over.
Mm. Yeah, you're talking some real truth too about boundaries, setting those boundaries, making sure are accountable to yourself and accountable to the boundaries that you set, because they're super important for sure. Yes, so where can we find you? How do we keep up with this new music you have coming out? And then, of course, where can we watch your show?
Yes, thank you. Pretty much everything is on my website. It'll connect you to everything else. You can go to the Nikki Clarke Network, and Nikki is Nikki, Clarke, Clarke, the E is silent, network.com. You'll find the extensions of the music, the TV, and all the other things that I'm up to. The music is on iTunes, Spotify, Napster, Tidal, and the show is on Afro Global Television. So it's on Mondays at noon and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And you can find it on Bell 5, 2472, and also on Rogers 708 and two other channels, but I forgot. I can't memorize more than two channels, but they're there and they're listed on my website. And as well, it's on John Dew Radio. You can go to John Dew Radio Network on Thursdays at 11 a.m. You can hear the audio portion of the interviews that I have 11 a.m. Thursdays. So that's where you can find me.
That's phenomenal. And before I let you go, I definitely want to know if you have like a motivational or inspirational quote that you believe would kind of motivate or inspire the listeners tonight.
A movie? Sorry?
No, just like a motivational quote or like an inspirational quote that would motivate the listeners.
Yes. Well, I always say if you can see it, you can achieve it. So dare to dream big. And if you can see that dream with your eyes open and your eyes closed, you can achieve it.
Awesome. Well, Nikki, thank you so much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate you for responding to the call to come on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. And thanks for everyone who dropped by. Thank you for your greetings. I appreciate it. Lots of love to you. Stay safe. You know, God's got you no matter what.
All right. Okay, Nikki, you take care. Have yourself a wonderful evening, and we will definitely be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much again, and God bless you. And keep up the good
God
work.
bless you too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye bye.
That was such a great conversation, guys. Oh my gosh. Wow. She's out here doing a lot, guys, and she's definitely an inspiration to me. You guys have to check out her show. Go on to the NikkiClarkeShow.com and sorry, the NikkiClarkeNetwork.com. And you guys definitely want to make sure that you're checking out her interviews. Interviews are super phenomenal. She's got so many different individuals, and as she just mentioned, she's been doing this for years, so she's got this under her belt. There is a reason why they call her the Canada's Oprah Winfrey, because she literally has everybody on her show, and they talk about everything. Like she really creates a safe space for um, her guests to come on and talk, right? So it's such an honor to have her on the show, honestly. I was super excited about today's interview. I'm blessed to have Miss Nikki Clarke on the show with us today. So guys, just give me about 5, 6, 7 minutes and I will be right back. I am going to just do a quick bathroom break and I'll be back at 9 o'clock to talk to the other Nikki because we're doubling up today. We got Nikki 1, Nikki 2, so we got Nikki Moody coming up at 9 o'clock.